Hey everyone, Major Injuries here with my second Fallout 4 video as promised. And I'm here at Starlight Theater atop the big screen here, looking down on the new factory that I built. And this is an absolutely insane build. I didn't finish putting the roof on it here because I kept running out of space or size, and I kept having to do the gun glitch in order to get more space. So I was afraid eventually I was going to end up causing so much lag that I wouldn't be able to run the factory because there are a lot of moving components here. So here we go. Let's take a tour here. All right, guys, you're in the way. All right, before we go in, let me tell you exactly what we're doing here. So we're building pumpkins, plastic pumpkins, Jangles the Moon Monkey, lunch boxes, the toy alien, the toy truck, Giddy Up Buttercup, and the toy rocket all at the exact same time. I've got a list of all the components that are required here for everything, and then I had to figure out how was I going to get, for example, plastic. 4 different components, or plastic is needed in 4 different build items here. So I had to figure out how was I, how was I going to actually get this plastic divided up into 4 different lanes, if you will. So you can see I've got a total of 12 plastics. This is per item, by the way. So for each pumpkin, I'm going to need 4 plastic, etc. So the first line here in the total is 12 total plastics, 2 aluminums, 2 fiberglass, 4 cloths, 13 steels, and 8 screws, 2 rubbers, 4 gears, and 5 springs. A total of 52 components just to make one of these items. Now, the one thing I've noticed, and I'll show you here, because I'm splitting this up using a diverter, I don't get the same number at each lane that I needed. And so I'm actually going to, it's going to require that I actually put extra in here. So I've calculated how many extra components we're going to need. A good example in this plastic, I'm dividing the plastic up into 4 different lanes. So it's going to send 1 for every 4. It's going to send 1 to lane 1, 1 to lane 2, etc. So each lane is going to end up with 4. So I'm going to need a total of 16 plastics just to make one of each of these. So I will have extra components left over once we're all done. But these are the numbers to make one item using this factory. And then to build 3, I've calculated how many I'm going to need to build 3. And so today that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 of these. It's going to take a while. As you can see, I've got 198 components going through this thing. So it's going to take a while. I'll probably end up having to cut it short. But anyway, that's what we're doing today. So let's take a look. As you can see when I first get in here, I've got 2 of these generators because it literally required more power to run this than one generator would actually give me. So I ended up putting 2 generators in here. I got a main power switch right here, which actually turns the power on and off for the entire factory. In order to use the diverters, I had to come up with some way of turning that diverter on and off for each one of the lanes. And I'll explain this further here in a minute. So I ended up using a series of AND gates and XNOR gate. These XNOR gates across here are actually connected to a diverter. The diverter is then turned on or off according to the inputs that go into the XNOR gate from the 2 AND gates. And these AND gates are connected to the laser tripwire switches. So you'll see all that here in a minute. But you can see, like, for example, these 3 are for the plastic, to help me sort out plastic into 4 different lanes. And the first bank and the first tripwire is actually on, and the second one is off. And so therefore this XNOR gate has 1 positive voltage and 1 negative voltage, so it's off. As soon as it gets 2 negative voltages, such as right here, it'll turn on, or if it gets 2 positive voltages, it'll turn on. So you'll see how that works here in a moment. Let's make a trip over here. Well, first let's take a look at how we set everything up. So we put everything in the vacuum hopper here and we feed it into a group of sorters, and you can see we're sorting the plastic and each material I'm going to need to build all these 7 items. And there's Bob, works himself to the bone, poor guy. And then fiberglass, springs, gears, and finally cloth. Anything is not used, which we won't have any in this case, but if there were, it would go over into the storage unit where I could pull it out. Which reminds me, I put everything we're going to need here in here so I can be prepared and ready to build. So there we go. So that's everything we're going to need. That's everything we need to build 3 of each item. Actually, I think on the lunch boxes it makes a little more than 3. It makes 4 or 5 of them. But once I put the units in here, or the components in here, the plastic will come over here and get diverted or sorted over into these diverters here. The first diverter is going to feed it here, down this line, and then it's going to feed it down that line. And each line has its own diverter again, which is then going to put it in 1, then 3, then 2, then 4, then 1, then 3, then 2, then 4, and so on and so on. So yeah, it's pretty cool. That way I was able to split the plastic up for the plastic pumpkins, the toy aliens, the rockets, and the monkeys. That's how that works. That's how it's going to work. All right. The next thing we needed was plastic, which is, or no, I'm sorry, rubber, which is sorted out right here and fed up, which I'll show you where that goes. That is for, the rubber is for the monkey, I believe. No. Oh, that's for the toy alien. Okay. So this rubber is for the toy alien. And then the toy alien is going to get its plastic from here. So, well, I'll walk through all these, show how these work. The next line is steel, and you can see it. Basically, I'm using these diverters again, and I'm feeding steel for Buttercup, over here for the lunch pails, lunch boxes, and then steel over here for the toy truck. Now, how I've got this set up, it's basically going to run one steel to line 1, or line 2, we'll call it here in the middle, and then feed one over to line 3, which is Buttercup, then one over to 1, and then back to 3. So it's always going to put twice as many in Buttercup as it does in these 2 lanes. I wanted to try to figure out a way to get it to do an even amount, which I may figure out in another build. But right now, that's how that works. So this is going to get twice as many. Next, we have the aluminum for the rockets. The screws, Buttercup and the toy truck take screws. The fiberglass for the monkey. Springs for Buttercup. Gears for Buttercup. Buttercup is the most difficult one. It takes actually 4 items to build that. And then cloth for the monkey. All right, so let's take a look at how, first, the pumpkin is very, very simple. It only requires plastic, so we just fed this up here. And we'll take a trip up here, take a look. Whoops, and I missed the steps. All right, so then it feeds it up here, goes up to the 3rd floor, and goes over to the builder right here, and then to the storage right there. I wanted to get all the storage units on the ground floor and on the same line. I thought that'd be cool if I could get everything to go to the same place. And that's why I'm probably going to tear this down and rebuild it, is because I just couldn't do it the way I had initially started this build. I initially started the build by putting these sorters the way that I did. And once I got all these sorters in this long row, and then got all these gates wired up, and you can see this is a huge mess of wires, and it took me days to get all this wired properly and to get everything working. So you can see it was a lot of work to get all this going. Once I got it, it was like, okay, I can't move this, but it's obviously not going to work as the way I wanted it to, but it works. So that's the plastic pumpkins. Then plastic toy aliens. The toy aliens actually require plastic and rubber, as I said. So I have to combine those to a hopper. So let's go up here. We'll take a quick peek. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because it's extremely complicated, as you can tell. So there's my pumpkin build right there. And the next plastic for the alien right here. And then the rubber is being fed right here. And they both go into this hopper, which then drops down into this conveyor, which goes up to this hopper, which then goes around and is built right here. So as you can see, this is just an absolute crazy mess. And it was difficult. Trust me, it was very difficult. So, all right, so that's how that works. We'll see it all working here in just a moment. And then I had to do the same thing for the rockets. Now the rockets, let's take a look at the PowerPoint presentation again. The toy rocket takes plastic and aluminum, that's right. So plastic obviously feeds up here. And it has to go all the way to the top, and then we're going to drop it in with the aluminum from this sorter up here. So they both are going up here, and they're going to drop into a hopper. Now let's take a look at that. Here you go. So here's the rocket is being fed over here. Everything drops down, actually. Sorry. Everything drops into here, is being fed on a conveyor, hits this lift, and then goes across over here to my rocket builder here, and then stored right here. So this, again, as I pointed out, it's pretty crazy. And next, let's see, so we got the rockets. I think the monkey's next here, right? Yeah, the monkey. So this plastic has to feed. Now, the monkey takes 3 items, so I had to combine 3 different things. We had to sort out screws also for them. Oh, no, that's Buttercup, sorry. Fiberglass, there we go. Fiberglass and then cloth over here. So the cloth is feeding up across, going all the way up. You can see it over here, going all the way around to that hopper right there. And basically that's all I did, was just feed everything, the 3 components, up to the top. We'll get up there and take a look. And all 3 sorters are feeding into that hopper right here. So that has the 3 materials that I needed for that. And then from there, it's going to drop it down into, I don't know if you can see it down there. It's got a conveyor down there that hits this lift that picks the material back up, puts it up here where we can build the monkey, and then send the monkey over here for storage. All right. So that's the monkey. And we got the monkey. Let's see. All right, so we've got 4 of the items. Let's do the lunchbox because that's very simple. The steel from the lunchbox basically just goes up to floor number 2 and shoots over here to the builder and just puts it right here in the storage. So that one's very, very simple. The next steel was for this toy truck, which, did I already talk about the toy truck? I don't know. Well, let's take a look at the toy truck. It needs store. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that because it needs screws. So let's go up here and look how we're sorting this. The screws, we did the same thing with the screws that we did with the steel. And the plastic, we had to use a diverter and the AND gates and the XNOR gate. Oh, wait a minute. Let's get down to the, yeah, here we go. Oh, got to go around this way. Tight quarters. Okay, so the screws are coming up through here, and then they're going to send screws to Buttercup here, and then the toy truck here using the exact same process I used before. It's got the diverter with the two laser tripwire switches. All right. And let's see, that's going to feed all these components, or those two components, up to here. And they're going all the way up to the top. Let's get up there. Take a look. All right. So here's the screws for the truck. Oh, I didn't finish typing truck apparently. So the screws are going to hit this hopper right here. And then the steel is just diverted from down there all the way up here, ran around and dropped into the same hopper. And then they're going to drop down into this conveyor, which hits another hopper. And here's where I was originally trying to get everything to the first floor. So I actually had all this material hit a second hopper and drop down to the first floor, and I built a builder down there. But then I realized I wasn't going to be able to get everything built on the first floor, unfortunately. So there we go. All right, so I'm running around like a madman here. And then Lunchbox we did, and then Buttercup. Buttercup was the hardest. Buttercup requires 4 components, so I put 2 components into one hopper and 2 components into a separate hopper, and you'll see I fed this still up to here, goes across and goes back up to another area up here, which I'll show you. We also needed the screws. So I combined basically the steel and the screws into one hopper, and then we needed springs and gears, which I combined to a second hopper. And we'll go up there and take a look. I'm getting tired running up and down stairs. All right, we're just about completed here. So here's the, let's see, this is the springs and gears go here, and they land on this conveyor you can see down there, which also is getting the, you can see it's getting the screws and the steel, should be the steel, yeah, and they're coming in this hopper. Oops, I hate that. So then all 4 of the components are ending up on that conveyor at the bottom, or on the second floor. Let's go down there and take a look. Once all 4 components are on that conveyor here, they're shot down here where they drop onto this conveyor, which then feeds the builder for Buttercup. And I couldn't get a storage for Buttercups because they're too tall. They won't fit into storage units. So they're going to be on the ground, I guess. So I think that's it, really. I'd say let's rock and roll. Let's get this thing going and see how it looks. All right, let's see which items it pulls out of here first. So it's going to do the aluminum first. So the aluminum doesn't have to be sorted, anything like that. It's just going to go, I'm sorry, it doesn't have to be diverted. It's just going to feed up into this sorter right here, which will go up to provide the aluminum for the rockets. Okay, simple. All right, next, let's see what else we got. All right, next is the steel. So this is the interesting part. This is going to take a little bit too. So you can see how this is going to work. It sent one this way. Now it's going to send one this way. Oh, that didn't trip. That's interesting. It's going to send one here, one there. Then what's going to happen here, it's got another diverter which is going to do the same thing. It's going to send one this way, and then it's going to send one this way. So that's how it's sorting out the steel. Pretty cool. It's fun watching. I can sit here and watch it all day. It's interesting. And it works, like I say, it works pretty well. Other than sometimes the very first item or the component that hits that tripwire doesn't trip it for some reason. That happens frequently. So there we go. So now if we look at, because we're building these lunch bells, right here, whoops, let's go around. And that's all that's required for that. It should already start making lunch pails. Yeah, there we go. So we have 2 lunch boxes already. So there's our lunch boxes. Cool. Oh, let's go back around. I think the steel takes a little bit. It got 60 some. All right. Yeah, we're still sorting the steel. So I'll probably fast forward through this part. Oh, while we're waiting on this, let's go take a look. See if we can make it up here in time. Let's see, that steel is going for, whoops. Should be coming around here. We should start seeing some steel in here actually. Yeah, there we go. So that's for the toy truck. See. So you can see everything does go through the factory, believe it or not. Everything works. It's just a madhouse for sure. It took me a while to really figure this out once I built it and then tried to say, okay, let's prepare to make a video. How am I going to explain this? It was like, holy cow. I don't know how I'm going to explain this, so bear with me. This may get really crazy. It already is crazy, so you can imagine how difficult it is to explain. All right, there we go. Now we got the springs. Okay, finally done sorting the steel. That's cool. Everything's working as it should. All right, springs. Should be running out of those here in a minute. Let's see. It's got, oh yeah, there we go. So we're done with the springs. Now we're going to start seeing the screws. So let's go up and watch the screws. Kind of fun. And this is an absolute maze. All right, here is where the screws are coming. And we have our first victim. And you can see them getting sorted. Works pretty good. I did have to set the timing on this for 3 seconds for each item. Otherwise, if they came on this conveyor closer than that, it didn't sort properly. So if you set this kind of thing up, be sure and go into the hopper settings and set the delay for 3 seconds. It works better that way. All right, fun, fun, fun. All right, so we should be running out of screws soon. Yep, there we go. Next is the rubber. And the rubber is just being sorted over here for the, what was it, for the monkey or something? No, it was for the toy alien, of course. Nothing fascinating going on here. All right, here comes the plastic. This is the fun part. Getting this is the very first line I set up, and trying to get it to work took a little bit of ingenuity. Especially, this is my second time ever building a factory, so this was a real challenge for me. It was totally just a total blast to try to figure it out. All right, there you go. So now we're gonna get it. And see, you see how that did not work. Sometimes it just doesn't work on the very first one, but it should start working. All right, so this is gonna hit. This plastic is gonna go to 1. The next one should go to 3, lane 3 over here. The third one will go to lane 2, and the fourth one will then go over to lane 4. So it's 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4 the whole time. Pretty cool. It works. It works well. Now that means plastic is already being fed up here for the pumpkins, and since that's the only component, those should be. Oh, what do we got? We got a stuck component. Yes, we do. There we go. That is going to happen periodically. Because the pumpkins only require plastic, they should already start the manufacturing process. Yeah, there we go. We got our first one. All right, so I think it takes one more plastic. So once it gets another plastic, should make another one. There we go. Hey, look at that plastic pumpkin. So cool. As you can see, this is very crazy. It's an insane build. It was a lot of fun, but that took a ton of focus, especially getting all these working. You can watch these and you can see how they work. See, there's no power to either one of the lasers, so it turned it on, and then, yeah, see how that's working? Very cool, because this is the very first diverter. Very cool. But then I had to wire all this stuff. Oh my god, this was painstaking. It took a tremendous amount of focus. Where are we at now? What do we got? We're at gears. We still got to get the fiberglass and cloth yet, which those make the monkey. So Buttercup should have enough stuff here. Let's go see if Buttercup's done yet. Come here, Giddy Up. All right, Giddy Up has, oh, it still needs gears. So we got to wait for the gears. Oh, I see some of them fell on the floor here. There we go. Alright, here we go. Should be getting our first giddy up here. Whoa, giddy up. Come on, buddy. You can make it. Oh, I was trying to move it. I accidentally took it. Whew. Very noisy. Oh no, there he is. There's giddy up. Oh, we've lost components here. I'll have to fix that. They're not landing where they're supposed to. Alright, is that everything? Yeah, there we go. So I must have one giddy up already in my inventory. Yep. Okay, so I did pick that one up. So there's our 3 giddy ups. Now I calculated the revenue on all this, and basically for each one of these I'm going to get 36 caps for each single item. So in other words, one of everything would make 36 caps times 3. What's 109, something like that? Why is the lights out? So I'm going to get 109 caps for these 3 of everything. So I'm certainly not going to get rich, but it was a lot of fun. It looks like everything is completed. All right, so let's... Yeah, now I can hear. All right. I'm going to go collect everything. Oh, I got 6 lunch boxes. That's nice. Probably have extra components. And let's see. I don't have anything else up here. I think they're upstairs. Should have 3 pumpkins. There we go. Let's see if we have any extra plastic. We do. Our rockets, a little extra. Oh, we only got 2. That's interesting. So miscalculated something, or something didn't work right. Whatever. And our alien. Oh yeah, see, plastic accidentally went to the wrong. Too many plastics went to this one. That's because it was skipping. For some reason, it does that sometimes, which is maddening. It's only when it first starts. Oh, there's another problem. Oh, there we go. We didn't get everything out. Yeah, so I probably jumped the gun here. I probably should have went and checked everything to make sure everything's clear, but oh, what do we got here? Nothing. We're good. Oh, yeah, see, there's another aluminum. So yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit. Probably should have went and checked, but this video is getting very long, and so I wanted to cut it short as possible here. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Oh, monkey. There's our 3 monkeys. See, what have I not got yet? The truck. Ah, yes. Oh, Tony, dude, I told you not to work yourself to the bone. All right. Ooh. I bet we're going to be short. Oh, no, we have 4. Cool. Okay. So things did not sort properly because the diverters, the laser tripwires, didn't register the very first item on quite a bit of the lanes here, unfortunately. But that works pretty well, especially if you're building, if you're trying to build a bunch of them, then once you get it going, it's very accurate. So, whew. That's it. That's how it worked. Told you this is a crazy build. Hopefully this is understandable. I tried to explain it simply. And again, I'm gonna be tearing this all down. I'll probably put these sorters along this wall here and have them go all the way down this way, and then extend the building out this way so that I can try to get everything in, so it ends in a single nice uniform lane instead of having to run all over the building like I did. But hey, this is my second build ever. This is the second time, and you guys saw my first one. It was just a very simple ammo build. Last thing I wanted to point out was, well, first I wanted to say thanks for watching the video, guys. I appreciate it. Be sure and like and comment. I appreciate it. Secondly is, this was actually, in order to build all this, it took an enormous amount of screws and rubber and gears and things that you can't buy really. So I had to salvage a lot of this stuff, and it took forever. It took more time. I spent more time going out and getting all the components for this than I did actually building this, although I did spend weeks building this thing. Point being is, what I decided to do was to build a sorting factory where I could just drop a bunch of components and they all go into through a bunch of sorting and into storage units for every single component. So I actually built a pretty large sorting facility. It's called Major's Sorting Shack, which I will show you in another video. It's pretty large. I built it over by the airport, and yeah, I hope you guys will subscribe so you don't miss that video. It's pretty interesting, and I highly recommend that you make sure you have, if you're going to build something like this, you have to have an absolute ton of materials, and I would recommend that you gather literally thousands of items of these components, because you're going to need it. So there you go. All right, that's it. Thanks again for watching. I know this got kind of long. Appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks.